Hello, everyone. I am just testing out how this looks. So please forgive me for any notifications that came on your channel. I'm actually about to go live in a minute in case there's anyone who's catching this replay before I delete it. Um, but let's see. Let's see how it looks. It says waiting. That's live on my end. Let's see. Okay, now it says I'm live. Let's see. Hmm. Let's try this again. Hello. Hi, hun. I was just saying how I am testing out how this works. I'm gonna go live for real. Hi, everybody. I'm gonna go live for real in like 5 minutes, but this is just a test one, and we're gonna be talking about father wounds. So, if there are any of you who have dealt with father wounds, and or you are wondering if you might be dealing with father wounds, let me know in the chat. Y'all be here. That's what's up. I love it. Yeah, let me know. Ooh, oh, there I am. Oh, okay. Hold on. I am. In case there's anyone who's catching this replay before I okay. I'm trying to decide, y'all. I got a fancy new camera. And I got this fancy new camera literally months ago. This is not the fancy new camera. This is just a webcam that's not, and I'm kind of oily. This is just a webcam that's, I'll put powder on before I come live again. This is just a webcam that I've had forever. And I keep telling myself, I am going to set up this fancy camera that I spent all this money on so it could be nice and crystal clear. And I haven't done it. Shout out to ADHD. Oh, the lawn people are still here. Okay, I might not be back for an hour, but I'm gonna still keep talking because this isn't an official live. So I think this might be the perfectionism thing. Me trying to make sure everything is perfect before I follow through with things. But um, you are working on father wounds. Awesome. Yes, this is a need for sure. Okay, so tell me, how have y'all seen father wounds show up in your life? And while I'm waiting for you to type, I'm going to tell you what made me decide to focus on this. So I have a free, oh my gosh, I hope y'all can hear me because a lot of people, it sounds like it's like right outside my window, but I'm going to keep talking. So I've already shared this in the free BGH community. For those of you who don't know, years ago I had the text community, and I had where I would like send out little inspirations and stuff. And some of you know, if you've been here for a while, how devastating that was, not only for the 4,000 plus of you who were on it, but also for me to have to give it up. And so I decided to shut down my email list so that I could just have a little small community where I would just drop inspiration and stuff in the same way that I did with the text community, except it would be longer. So now I can have more words, more think pieces, more support for you. And so I've been sharing some more things about father wounds. And I've told some of my students this. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think that I have had a gap when it came to this area. I think I have shared a lot about mother wounds, and not only mother wounds, but even some of the things that I teach. They're all helpful in healing trauma. They all will help you have better relationships and a better self-esteem. But there's a part of this, there's something unique that comes into when you have father wound gaps and not being cared for and loved in the way that you're supposed to as a father figure, or by masculine energy. For those of us who may have had parents who are, both identify as women, or we were raised by, grandparents or whatever, but we had like an uncle, we had someone who was in our life who was a healthy masculine energy, or if we had these men in our lives who were predators themselves or hurt us or whatever, there's something unique that happens in the wounding from masculine energy or the lack of masculine energy, just as there's something unique that happens with our mother wound trauma and um, destructive feminine energy and all that stuff. Anyways, I realized that this was the case because something that kept coming up that I saw, but I didn't know how to speak to it, was women who would, their heartbreak after a breakup would be more about losing a sense of covering. So even the most independent, most um, successful, most self identified women, when they allow themselves to be in a place where they fell in love with someone, this is a heterosexual partnership where they were able to fall in love with someone um, who identified as a man. Um, and part of the grieving and pulling away from that is losing someone who cared about me. And so what I kept hearing is like someone else who doesn't care. I feel like I'm always unprotected. I feel like I'm always like, I can be strong, but I'm tired of always having to be strong. When is someone going to care for me? When is someone going to protect me? When is someone going to see a need that I have and take care of me? And so I would hear words like care, and I would hear words like love. When is someone going to love me? When is someone going to um, um, care for me? And we can't hear them. Hey, girl, you can't hear them. You can't hear me, or you can't wait to hear them. Is that what you were saying? Let me know, because I think I heard. Yeah, I heard myself over here. Um, but yeah, it's like I'm tired of having to be the strong person. I'm tired of having to be the person that um, always has to protect me. When is someone going to take care of me? So I would hear that and I would think, oh, that's mother. Like that's mothering, right? Like that's nurturing. That's someone to take care of you, but that's not what that is. A healthy, not only what that is, a healthy father is going to be someone who protects, provides. You can't hear my lawn people. Okay, thanks, Boo. um, Someone who protects and provides and looks ahead to see what the needs are to make sure that your life is easier. So I was talking with one of my clients recently, and I actually, y'all, this might end up being the live. Hold on, let's see how much I keep talking. Um, and if not the live, then I might just repeat these stories later. Um, I was talking to one client who has been trying to cut ties with an ex, and she actually did. She cut ties with an ex, and she finished her no contact period, and then decided to. He kept trying to like be her friend and reach out to her, so she decided to reach back out to him. The scenario is still the same. There's still someone who she would still need to be emotionally there for, someone who she would need to kind of mother in a way, someone who says that he wants to change and be better, but he's still in process and in flex with it, someone who they are unequally yoked. He is not on her level. And so when I was talking to her about, why does she still want to hang out with him? What does she get from this relationship? And she talked about friendship. So I was okay, let's break down this friendship a little bit more. What does that mean for you? What does this friendship give you that other friendships don't? Or what makes, especially the way that you describe the history of your relationship with him, what makes this actually beneficial to you? And so she was saying some things around, you know, I tend to kind of overwork and not really take care of myself. And he was the one who told me that I needed to rest and take care of myself. And then sometimes, she told about a couple of incidents where he would help her out and maybe get her some food and some other things like that. Like not pay her bills, but go and get her like something to eat from a local diner or something, or like pick up some fast food or something. Um, and just be a reminder in her ear that she needed to take care of herself. Meanwhile, he's extracting energy, but he is like saying the words around you need to take care of yourself. And so she's like saying those things, and I'm like, okay, so you had someone who cared for you. And she talked about like she also said feeling protected. I can't remember if she brought it up or if I asked her if she felt like protected or by that companionship or covering, just to have somebody there, to have that masculine energy there. And she said yes. So I said, okay, so he gave you a lot of these things like a father would give you. And she was like, yeah. And then she kept talking. And so I'm listening and we're talking. And so she said something else that he gave her and he did. And I was like, okay, so he said really nice things to you and he acted like he liked you in the way that a father would have done so. And she was like, yeah, because I'm also, I'm leaving out a lot of details, but the things that she was saying that this man gave her were the exact gaps that her father did not pay attention to her, was emotionally neglectful. She did not have a space to have her emotions or feelings. And he gave her in this masculine container the ability to explore those things. Bringing this back to what I was saying before, when you have a healthy masculine energy as far as a father, a healthy father, a healthy father in any household is going to see the needs of his family. He's going to see the needs of his partner. He's going to see the needs of his children. And his job is to say, okay, how can I make this better? That's why if you're someone who is, really um, really active on social media, at least on my FYP, the things that come to my algorithm are women who are pumping up their men who are like crafty in the household. So but before she even asks for anything, say she's a crafter and she has rolls of wrapping paper places and she has ribbons and everything, her man sees it and he's like, I'm gonna fix that. So he goes and he builds some little cabinet that has rolls for her to put her wrappers on and has like special doors and everything, and he solves the problem. Or say, she is someone who there's always like, what's this one woman? I can't remember the example. I feel like I see them all the time. But there's another woman, let's say she always came in and just the floor was always muddy or whatever, and he built a contraption to make sure that the opening entryway stayed clean and that the shoes could be put up, right? And it doesn't have to be someone who's crafty in that way, but someone who sees the needs of the family and he takes it upon his own leadership because he wants to make sure people are happy and healthy and that he can be of support and provision and to cover and protect. Those are the types of things that we're supposed to have. When it comes to nurturing and care, that is not just a mother thing. That is something also that our fathers do. Now here's the rub, and this is why sometimes it gets mixed with fathers. Fathers also do a pushing. A healthy father is going to be someone who, when you're trying to do something and you're trying to go out for your goals, he may be the one who's like, okay, this is hard, but you can do it. When you're trying to give up, he, a mother, and I, maybe this is the way that I mother, and what I'm trying to work on with this young man that I'm raising. A mother may be more prone to, if you're having a hard time, and you need to be held and you're like, Mom, this is hard, she may be prone to be like, okay, honey, I got you, and more empathic. A father is going to be like, okay, I know this is hard, but you can do this. I believe in you. You go and I'm going to be right here. Okay, you fell down, right? This is how you do it. Show you how you do it. Now go. All the men that I've had around me who are fathers that I love, and if I've been blessed enough in their friendship to have them around my son, I also get to see how they talk to him differently and how they talk to their own children. And it very much just is this steady, strong presence of I'm here for you, but I also believe in you. And so I'm going to be here as a steady, strong foundation for you, but I'm also not going to let you give up on yourself. And I'm not going to let you fall down the hole, but I'm going to trust that if you fall down, you can pick yourself up. And if it ever gets hard, I'm going to be here too. So many of us have had to do it all on our own. And so we don't know what it's like to have someone actually be a backbone and a partner for us. So when we have someone who's giving like a semblance of, I believe in you, that is like water in a desert oasis, right? It tastes so sweet. So finally, I have someone who feels like they see me, and it feels like they believe in me, and I don't have to be the only source for my self belief. I don't have to be the only source for my motivation. This is why I talk about so often that when it comes to breaking up with people and toxic folks in our life, it's never as simple as this person was just all bad, which is why it makes it so hard to set these boundaries. Because this relationship literally gives us something. Whether or not the gap area in our life is care and comfort and nurturance or belief in us or companionship or protection whatever it is, a push to not give up, right? To lose that is a big gap area. But especially y'all, I'm working on the availability book and it's so close to being done. I'm trying to add in exercises. Like the main text is done. I could publish it today on Amazon right now. Y'all could have it. But I want to put in more exercises for y'all to like answer and ask questions. And for those of you who don't know, I'm writing a book. I've already written a book called How to Pick Better Partners for Love Addicts. And how to assess who is healthy and available for you for friendships, romantic partnerships, and otherwise. So the book is written. And right now I'm just adding in as the copy editor got it back to me. And so I'm trying to add in more exercises and stuff and get the cover edited with the new title and everything. But one of the things that I share in this book, I have a list. These are qualities of people who are healthy for you, right? So whether or not you're looking for someone who's a friend, a business partner, a lover, you're trying to decide which family members to keep in contact with and who to demote and not talk to anymore, this is what you look for. And then this is the list of all the qualities of people who are dangerous. Like these are all the red flags. Run as fast as you can, right? These are not people to tolerate. Something I made clear in this book is that these two lists are not pros and cons. A lot of times when it comes to people who are dysfunctional in our life, we make a pros and cons list. We're like, okay, well, they do all these really great things for me, but then here they're a little bit flaky, or, sometimes they kind of have a little bit of an attitude sometimes, or sometimes, they're really physically present for me, but when I'm talking to them about my emotions, they don't really know what to say. And so you're like trying to cross them out, and try to see if they're even, but they're not even. Everything on this list, no, wait, on this side. Everything on this list, on the unavailable list, everything that I have listed there for y'all, when y'all see it, are things that are going to deplete you. I don't have little nitpicky things on there that like we have different hobbies. Um, they go to sleep at a different time than I do. um, Even I don't even have religious differences on there because you get to decide what and how that shows up in your life. It's more, is this person mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, or financially dangerous for me? And so many of us will entertain people who align with those things because they give us a little sense of comfort in some other place. They give us companionship. I was talking with one of my other students today and asking her, she said that she started dating again. She might be watching this later on, but she said she started dating again after being in the recovery school. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But then she says, but I'm trying to, she says, but I'm trying to keep it. This is a strong paraphrase. She basically says, I'm trying to keep it casual because no, I asked her, no, she said, I'm not looking for love because I already have enough within myself. So I'm trying to keep it casual. And I'm like, okay, well, then what's the point of, and I said it in a nicer way. Like, I'm just like talking freely right now. But I was like, okay, so why are you dating then? Like, what is the point of dating? What are you looking for? And it's real a curious question because we all date for different reasons, right? Like if some people are going on dates just purely as a hobby. Some people are like, I want to do a rotation in my whole phase. And so that's what they want to do. And some people are dating for companionship. And so she responds and she tells me, well, I'm looking for a companion and someone to be a life partner. And I'm like, okay, well, it's great that you feel more connected to the love that you have inside of you, but to have someone who's going to be a life partner and a lifelong companion potentially, because she's like, I'm looking for this, but I'm trying to not put all these expectations on people who are just met, which obviously that's part of our healing, right? As love addicts. As love addicts to stop marrying people on the first date that we don't know, right? So I was like, okay, that's all great. And for you to find someone who's a life partner and someone that you want to bond with long term, love has to be a part of that. That is absolutely someone who needs to be someone who you could potentially fall in love with, right? And who's going to have the qualities to love you back in the way that you need to be loved. And so There's absolutely a balance between not future faking or going into fantasy about people that we don't know, and being very connected to ourselves and us being our own source. But the problem that I see a lot of women do when they try to do this as far part of their healing journey and keep it casual is we underestimate how easy it is to fall for someone who should have never been in our orbit in the first place. We're trying to keep it casual, keep it cutesy, keep it demure, keep it mindful. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference. Um, but yeah, we're trying to keep it cute and keep it low key, but our hearts are not anything to really play with. We are more susceptible. And if you're listening to this, you have most likely been on the receiving end of this. We are more susceptible for falling for people who we have no business being with, who are not on our level, who cannot show up for us, who are emotionally unavailable. And we thought by just keeping it casual, keeping it cute, that we would be able to keep our mindset about us. And that's not how it works. So, if what you're really wanting is lifelong companionship and lifelong partner, you got to make sure that the people that you have around you are actually adding to your life, that they are a benefit to your life. That means you got to start dating up. And when I was talking to my student about this, I was like, man, I think I'm starting to sound like Sheer 7. But here's the thing, Sheer 7 is not telling any lies, especially when it comes to this, because many of us have been duped by Bob the Builder projects, thinking that we can just casually hang out with them. We hear their stories, we start to care for them as people. We're not in these scenarios, rarely as a woman hanging out with someone she is not attracted to in some way. The companionship has some type of romantic quality. Um, Simquita says, I dated down for too long. It's so easy. It's so easy to fall into that. And, kind of this belief that any man is better than no man. And no one is going to say that out loud. No one, no one who listens to this channel is going to say that thought out loud. I know some people who would. But no one who listens to this channel will say that out loud, because we are doing such deep work in our self-worth and our self-love in other areas that it's like a slap in our face, and it's very disrespectful and demeaning to ourselves to say that. However, when we look at our actions, for those of us who are straight or bi or pan and date men, for those of us who are straight, how many of us have kept hanging on to someone longer than we knew that we needed to? We knew that they weren't it. We knew that they couldn't give us what we wanted. We knew that by being with them, we were losing out on some things, right? But having him there was better than him not being there, even though he may have depleted us in other areas. It is a more crass way of saying that's what our actions are showing, but it is. It's how it plays out. Okay, I said I was just gonna. This is just it's titled testing, and I was gonna go and like put powder on my face, and I'm over here yapping. So this is like one. This is not gonna get deleted. This is most likely gonna stay on the channel, but I am gonna come back in a moment to do an official live. But let me read what we wrote here. For those of you who don't know, I was talking about how this live I'm going to do today is going to be talking about father wounds. And I was kind of talking about how and why I decided to get to this place. I'm going to repeat that story shortly. Um, but I was asking y'all's experience with father wounds before I come back. All right. I'm Leo Season says, hi, gorgeous people. Sheena, you look amazing. Thank you. Geez, let me receive that. Practicing receiving. Father wounds have shown up in my life in more ways than one. I suffer rejection wounds and go after men who couldn't care less about me or who are abusive. Yes. Oh my God. I feel like part of me feels like I have unlocked something. I've been teaching this stuff for almost 10 years now? Depending on, I need to put a timeline here so that I know exactly how long I've been doing things. I kind of guesstimate. because I've been in recovery for 11 years. Yeah, so 10 years, around 10 years in some form, I've been teaching this. Um, but I've never focused on father wounds. Y'all will notice, especially those of you who've been around here for a long time. Around Father's Day, your goal goes very quiet. Mother's Day, every year, every other year, I say something about Mother's Day. There's a Mother's Day episode. I'm doing a new Mother's Wound workshop, right? I, I've been comfortable digging into the mother wounds. When it comes to the father wounds, such a mirror of the own work, my own work that I've needed to do. Which since I've dug into, I'm like, ain't this about it? Like, ain't this like this is where it's been this whole time. Um, but yeah, I'm so excited to be able to add this to the curriculum and the teachings and stuff that I have here. I'll be sharing this in the live that we're going to be doing in intensive. So I originally, again, those who are in the community, you've already seen this, and those of you who follow Instagram, you've seen this as well. As well, about 2 weeks ago now, maybe three, I talked about a father's healing a father wound workshop that was supposed to happen in October, and it was going to be 3 hours or so, because I knew we were going to be here for a while, which means 3 hours probably means 4 hours. um, and I was waiting until October because right now I'm going through a lot of like personal things that I'm clearing out. It's Mercury retrograde season. I'm going to potentially be doing some other things I'm not going to share about right now. Maybe I will later. Um, but yeah, just this wasn't the right time. And I knew I wanted to give space and opportunity for me to build a curriculum, see what I wanted without it feeling rushed, especially with this being something that is newer for me to work on. I knew I wanted to kind of give more space and time for it. So that was the original plan. However, I asked the community what they wanted, if they would rather do a workshop or like a 30-day container. And so it was mostly people who were like, let's do this together as a group so that we can ask follow-up questions and everything and let it go, like get the support that we needed. And then some other people were like, okay, let's do it as a workshop. As I've been thinking about this, y'all, I'm thinking maybe we need to make this longer. I'm thinking like this father wound stuff, maybe let's make this 6 weeks instead of 4. Let's really get some time for us to come back and forth and work on this. I'm thinking it might be 6 weeks instead of 4, like I was originally planning. But we'll see. I haven't announced any official things. The link is still up. I think anyone who enrolls in it will get grandfathered into whatever it is that I end up doing later on. The price, especially if it's a longer thing, the price will probably be different. So if this is something you're interested in, you may want to check it out so you can just stay, like get a deal on it. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna need some time to marinate in this. That's kind of where I am right now. But thank you so much for sharing that, Leo season. Leah says, my friend has been married most of her adult life and is around amazing men. She doesn't understand me and gets frustrated when I vent. Yeah, you know what? I was on Threads and someone made a post that said, popular, unpopular opinion. There were two different trains of thoughts. One train of thought was like, some of the people who give the best advice are people who are either for dating or either people who are currently dating or people who are divorced because they have actually gone through that process and they see how dating scene is right now. And people who've been married, most of the time, they got married at a time where just the culture was different. And also sometimes being removed from it and the process of it, it can be really hard for you to relate. So I'll be honest. Some of you know this and some of you don't, depending on how long you've been a part of this platform. I'm actually divorced. I would have been divorced for 3, 4 years now. I don't know. And one of the things that has been really, really one of the things that happened when I was married is all of my good girlfriends who I was very close to, who were still single after I got married. Y'all, I teach about relationships. I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I've helped so many people work through their things, right? And this was someone who I could kiki with all the time. About a year and a half into my marriage at the time, I couldn't relate to her anymore. And I remember having a distinct thought. I remember intentionally thinking, this is what I've seen happen with other people who are married and other people who have been in committed partnerships. And I feel like we're speaking two totally different languages. And I feel if I'm not being talked down to, and like as if you have achieved like a different level in life, um, just that like we can't talk about relationships in the same way that we did before. And so I remember being very intentional and thinking, I am not going to um, let this happen. I'm going to make sure that I stay a friend to her. And I couldn't, y'all. Even with everything that I know, I could not um, keep up the same banter that I had before. And so I think that is part of what happens. Just like you're in a different stage of life. And there are some times that you're in different stages of life that you can still connect. And there are times that you actually can't. And I think the other part that happens is if we are close friends with really healthy people who are securely attached, and they may have had like their ups and downs, and they may have had their broken hearts, and they may have had times that they played the fool. If your trauma is set up in a different way, they don't understand. They can't understand how you would stay with someone who would embarrass you, or stay with someone who may have hurt you, or stay with someone who um, didn't love you in the way that you deserve to be loved. They can't even fathom it, right? And so that makes you start to feel like maybe there's something wrong with you, or that you've done something wrong, and that's not the case. It's just a different background. So um, this was a well worth it pop in. Yes, please. 6 weeks. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Father wounds is a tough topic because we have to do the inner child work as well. Thank you so much for offering this. Yeah, father wounds is absolutely inner child work. It is there. There's no. This is going to be full out inner child reparenting work. Another one of my clients. I know I don't come up here as much as I need to, y'all. I know I'm not always online and stuff, but I'm with my students and my clients behind the scenes. Your girl is busy. So one client I was talking to this week, um, we were checking in about a relationship that had just ended. So we had worked together for so long for her to get to a place where she was able to be in touch with her emotions and to feel like she was worth it, right? So she meets someone who is doing all the right things, and it freaks her the fuck out. Freaks her the fuck out. She's breaking up with him every other day. She's like picking fights with him when it comes to her needing to share emotions with him, and she is like not having it, and she's avoiding it, and she's like playing games. So like I've said this before, this beginning work that we have to kind of get things clear and build your self-love and stuff, it's really painful. But what the work really happens is when you start to get everything you want, if that is in the form of a romantic relationship, and now you got the mirror in front of you. Now you really do have to start to um, look at yourself, look at your triggers, and is this me thing or a them thing? Especially if they're not giving off all of the red flags as the people before, right? And you don't have a reason to distance yourself from them for you to start to create that distance. So we're talking about that. And so she says, I think I just need to be single again so I can just work on myself. Like, I think, this is in a cycle where they broke up. We know how that goes. They may end up getting back together. But this was the stage where they're, last time I talked to her, they were broken up. Hello, girl, if you're watching this. We've giggled about this, which is why I'm comfortable sharing this. I don't put my clients on blast, y'all, without their consent. Um, but but as we're talking about it, she she's saying how she feels like she needs to work on herself and be single for a while. And so she's like, well, how do I deal with this? Like, how do I make sure that I don't keep going through this? Like, I just feel so crazy when I'm in this relationship, and I feel this so foolish about not being able to control my emotions and all this other stuff. And it leads us to a deeper conversation about how this is a pattern not only in her romantic relationships, but in all of her relationships. She has such a low threshold for any intense emotions that she cannot control. So when things are very good in that relationship and she's feeling a lot of feelings about him and she's getting all giddy and she's starting to float away into like this happiness, that is scary because she's losing control. So she needs to fight, pick a fight, bring it all down back to a safe level where she can control it. And then the other side, um, with the anger and everything else, that is more that is more functional because then she can control the relationship. I can break things off with you. I can curse you out. I can, bring you down a peg. I can do whatever. But it's all about me keeping this tight container. How is this connected to father wounds? This is connected to her inner child work, specifically her father wounds, because she was never given a safe space for her to feel these emotions. These emotions were always cut down, undermined. She was made fun of for them. She's been exploited for them. They have been used against her. And so she never had someone be able to turn to her and say, hey, your feelings matter. It's okay for you to feel that strongly right now. It is okay for you to need some love and some care right now. You feel very scared right now because you feel very exposed. I get it. And I'm here for you right now. She never had anyone as a little girl say those things to her. She never had anyone as a little girl let her know that it's what it's like to feel safe. So now, as a grown up, she has taken all of these ways that she's learned to defend herself and protect herself from sabotage, from emotional ambushes, from people getting very close to her. I'm going to fall in love with you, and then you're going to go and change your mind and take it away from me. Fuck that. I'm going to point out all the reasons why this isn't going to work before you can. I'm going to create all this distance, and I'm going to keep pushing the limit until you leave me, because otherwise this is too risky for me. And it's only until she learns how to build a safe container and a safe space for her to have those emotions that, one, she's going to feel safe with her emotions herself. Because she was like, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, feel your feelings, and I need to go share with him. I'm like, no, because you don't even feel safe feeling these feelings within yourself. You don't even feel safe admitting to yourself that you feel very happy or that you feel very sad. You want to crack a joke about it. You want to do something else. You want to break up with them. You want to give all the receipts about why you don't need this person. You want to give all the receipts about why you don't need whatever other relationships that didn't work out in your life. No, this is about you being able to build a space with yourself that you can talk about the things that are hurtful for you and own them and give some care and compassion there. Because how can you expect anybody else to give that to you? But again, it's not even about them. It's about you. You're the one who is dealing with all this. You're the one who's dealing with this turmoil. Does this make sense, y'all? Is there anybody else who has felt this way before? And I'm going to also say, because I do think I know I said I was going to keep this as a replay, but in case I do decide to keep this as a replay, if you're watching this, does anybody else relate to this kind of this back and forth pattern? Have you done this with other people? Are you currently doing it now? Have you been on the receiving ends of this kind of back and forth thing? Right? But yeah, the father wounds is definitely reparenting work for sure. Because all of the actions around father wounds, I'm going to take a limb out and say, if let's say part of a father wound trauma, and I'll finish my statement. Let's say one way that our father wound trauma can show up, or that can be a source of father wound trauma, is when we have been unprotected and uncovered as little girls. So the way to repair that room, some would think, is for you to be very protective of yourself, for you to start taking care of yourself. And for so many of us, we are we have already done that. We are hyper independent. We make our own money. We make our own. We've made our own home. We've created careers that work for us. We've created lifestyles that work with us. We've got hobby. Like we've done it all on our own, and that doesn't make us feel safer. If anything, for some of us who have these father wounds, we feel more alone. We feel more exposed. We feel more abandoned. Why? Because once again, we're the ones who have to do it ourselves. There's no one else here to take care of us, right? So the charge to go and take care of yourself does not sound redeeming. It sounds more evidence of you not feeling worthy enough for someone to turn to you and see that you're worthy of being taken care of. For some folks, the way your father wound has shown up is on the other extreme, where you've become very codependent on people, where you actually do need to build the skill to learn how to take care of yourself because you've been very I'm trying to think of a different word other than dependent, but I can't think of one. You have been very dependent on someone else telling you what to think, helping you take care of yourself, whether or not it's financially, mentally, spiritually, that you did not learn that your thoughts matter, that your intuition matters, that you can do things on your own. And so you have to build that muscle and that skill, right? So, anyways, that's enough for now. That is 41 minutes. I am going to go and put a little bit of powder on my face. I might look the same, but it's going to make me feel a little bit better. And then I'm probably going to go live on IG at the same time, have an actual title, and then I'll maybe repeating some of these stories again, but I look forward to seeing y'all in about 5 to 10 minutes, and us digging into following stuff. All right. I will see y'all later, Gators.